Well, it's time for another episode of SCNS Live, and I'm back! I'm not only there!
Hey.
I'm here! I've moved 4 feet this way, and it feels good, but it feels better because somebody is on their own today, and they are running the board. Ladies and gentlemen, Cora is on the board for the first time. Y'all take it easy on her. She is running the show.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I already screwed up. Hi.
I don't know what you did.
I don't either.
So, yeah, it's good to be back, and it's good that somebody's learning a new skill. So it's going to be a great show because we got a lot of things to talk about. You guys have seen a movie. We do have some more tragic stuff, but of course we got the news, some good news in the news too. I got some science for y'all this week. So anyway, I am Jason the X. Over here we've got lovely Miss Kat, Jump Cat.
What's up?
We had a good time this weekend at
Yes,
Fan
we
Expo,
did.
so. And over there we've got Cass.
What's up?
Yeah.
Real casual.
Finger
Super
guns.
casual.
And I've already introduced Cora on the board. I'm proud. She's
So proud.
turning the knobs
They
and
grow
all
up
that
so
stuff.
quickly.
And
up.
Aw.
she's got control over there. Just. So I'm gonna go back over there
Good
now. I'm
villain
gonna move her
laugh.
back
I
over
really
here.
liked
That just made me nervous. So anyway, like I said, we've got all that for you guys. Thank you for joining us in the chat. If we saw you this weekend at Fan Expo and you came up and said something, it was good to see all of you. That was pretty awesome. People come up saying hi. I think definitely the highlight of the weekend was Mr. Josh Petersdorf and a great
He
video.
was
That's
so cool.
It's so cool.
he is just a joy to be around. So y'all want to go check out that video. It's on our page. It'll probably be something that will be presented afterwards that you can click on and maybe go check that afterwards. But anyway, let's go ahead and kick this show off with some super cool nerd news. Super cool nerd news. We are kicking it off. I'm sorry. That was casual, wasn't it?
Super cash.
Yeah.
Super cash.
So I'm going to start mine off with, something that it's not necessarily a bad thing, but everybody always just loses their mind. The Predator movie that's coming out, written and directed by what's his name? He was actually in the first.
James Cameron.
No.
Then I don't want to see
Shane
it.
Black. God, I couldn't think of his name. Shane Black. He was the nerdy guy in the first Predator movie, the guy that wore the glasses.
Yeah.
So he's directing this new Predator movie, and unfortunately, I don't want to say that, they have reshot about a third of the movie. Keegan Michael Key is in the movie. He came back and said, "Yeah, we shot about 3/4 of the third act." So, I mean, take it for who knows? Maybe somebody saw it and said, maybe we can go in a different direction. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I am ready for another Predator movie, so take your time with it because we've seen what happens when you don't take your time with Predator movies and tell a bad story. If there's any point that they feel like, hey, this isn't up to par, or maybe after you get that wider view of it, you say, this ain't going to work, let them go with that. We've seen it done with Han Solo, which everybody's still complaining about. We saw it done with Suicide Squad, which
was not a good sign. It was not a good sign, Jason.
It's not a sign to be
that was
hopeful.
probably the worst example I could have used. But anyway.
It is, yeah.
But we have seen it done with several movies, and I wouldn't worry about it. We still don't know what they shot, what was so bad. So let's give it a chance.
Don't worry, guys. It's okay. Don't worry.
I still want my Predator movie, okay?
No,
They terrified me. So I want a new Predator movie, and the traditional, hey, people are being hunted down and killed by this ginormous beast that's a giant hunter or whatever.
I mean, yeah. If you're wondering, reshoots make people nervous because they can signal dramatic shifts in tone, energy, or pacing.
They make studios nervous because more money.
Well, that's why they do, but we don't care about that. That's why it makes me a little bit nervous, but we'll give it a chance.
And this hasn't changed the release date. We're still planning on a September 14th release date for Predators by Shane Black. I hope it does well. I think the guy he's written some really good stories, and I think he's a really good director. So, yeah, Predators, September 14th. Thank you. Cass, what you got for us?
All right, my first story I'm super excited about. We have some casting news for the remake of Mulan. Last night it was announced that Donnie Yen would be joining the cast as a mentor to Mulan, which made my excitement go from an 8 to a 10.
It's Donnie Yen.
He's amazing. He's amazing. I absolutely loved him in Rogue One. I've seen a little bit of Ip Man. I think it was the first one, and he's so talented and so amazing. But More hype news today. Jet Li and Gong Li have both been announced. Jet Li as the Emperor and Gong Li as the antagonist, who is, and I quote, a powerful witch. I don't even know.
What?
I don't even know what that means, but I'm so excited.
So where did your excitement go to after that? If it went from an 8 to a 10.
Look at her. She's like flustered about
13.
this.
I'm so excited. I love Mulan. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. I love this story. And the remake, I have liked one of the remakes. I hated one of the remakes. But we'll see. It's Mulan. I'm super excited about it. We already have Louis Ifey as Mulan. She's very talented. She's amazing. So I'm super excited. Mulan, we've got, they're saying right now that March 27th, 2020 is going to be the release date.
Jeez!
They haven't even started shooting. Like, it's not surprising. It did make
hopefully I forget. Kind of just like put it in the back of my mind.
Yeah, you got to put it in your coming out in forever space.
Teaser!
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm super excited, Mulan. It's going to be amazing. Who are we going to next?
I think it's my turn.
I think it is your turn.
I think it is my turn. We have more good news today. Batgirl, the Batgirl movie. Probably most of you know that Joss Whedon had stepped down from the project a couple months ago. He said he kept working it and eventually figured out he just didn't have a story that he felt strongly about and tied to this project. Well, in the past few days, they have found a new writer. Her name is Christina Hudson. She wrote the screenplays for the horror movies Shut In and Unforgettable with Rosario Dawson. It came out last year. I didn't see it. I wanted to.
I saw some of it. It was very
stalker Christina Heigl.
Catherine
Heigl. She looks angry and confused all of the time. That's like her look. Anyway, she is now attached to Batgirl. I'm very excited about that. I want to see what she will bring to it. And yeah, so I guess they can pick back up where they left off.
Yes. Batgirl,
yes.
Cora,
thank you.
What have you got for us this week? It's good news. I know yours.
Oh.
She's learning her microphone. There you go.
This is difficult. I'll get rid of that. All right, so we all know that WrestleMania was this past Sunday, which we'll talk more about that later. But don't. That wasn't the theme this year. But one of my favorite wrestlers, Finn Balor, has released a new shirt on the WWE store with the tagline, Balor Club is for everyone. And it involves a rainbow, as you can see over here, the Balor Club symbol in rainbows. All the proceeds from these shirts, get away from the picture, are going to go to the GLAAD Foundation. So he came out in support of LGBTQ community, and also when he did his entrance this year, he did have a large group of fans wearing the shirts, and his ring gear did involve lots of rainbows in his attire. Like his jacket had the club symbol in rainbows, his socks were rainbows, and the symbol on his butt was a rainbow, which was doubly nice to see. I'm not even gonna...
like 2 reasons to watch his butt.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he's got a nice butt.
Well, Finn Balor's a sexy dude. I'll tell you that right now.
You just had this look of like silent resignation on your face that this is the show we are now. We talk about dudes' butts a lot.
But with rainbows.
And we were having this conversation with a mutual friend of ours. I'm glad where something like this can happen and no one gives it a negative thought. You know, they're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. We just accept it and move on.
There's not a lot of backlash from it, and people are like, oh, okay. Well.
Finn Balor's a great wrestler. He's one of my favorite wrestlers, and I'm looking for maybe a rainbow demon design, maybe, okay? I just want to go back to being the demon.
I mean, that would be really interesting. I also want to point out, like, the announcers for WWE's WrestleMania this year was like, they were all on board with this. They explained it, and they were just all in support of it. Everyone in the audience just lost their minds. I mean, but it's also Finn Balor, so of course you're going to lose your mind. But like, it was really good to see all of the positive reactions. No one was booing. Everyone was screaming and excited.
That's good. It's really good.
It's a changing world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, on top of that good news, I got some science news for you guys. So, of course, we probably all know somebody that's been affected by Alzheimer's. It's a horrible disease, and damn it, let's get the technology together. However, it looks like we do. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't even think Cap is here.
And no, he's not. So I can curse.
Microsoft is watching you, though.
In a recent study, wow, what is going on? A recent study that's been going on, some experiments, they have found that they can completely reverse Alzheimer's by removing one enzyme. Yes. Just one enzyme. So, tests have been successful in mice. They actually have started testing on human DNA, not human subjects, but just human DNA. The story is on Newsweek. There are a lot of science-y things that I may not understand so much in there. The study was published on February 14th.
I was wondering about that. Jason, can you please explain this?
It's in the Journal of Experimental Medicine, was actually where I would recommend you go read it because it's online, it's free. Instead of having to go to a news source and read it. But what they're doing is slowly reducing the levels of the enzyme BACE1 in the mice as they age, and they were showing that prevented the formation of amyloid plaques in the brain, and that is a sign of Alzheimer's. So they're probably, I believe they said, about 5 years from human testing, like actual live subjects. But if this continues to work, we could finally be rid of this damned disease.
Awesome.
And that would be great because I'm getting old, and I don't want to suffer from Alzheimer's. So, I will. Wow.
You remember that conversation that we had the other day about Alzheimer's, Jason? Yeah. You don't remember it, do you?
Think that's a good sign?
Too mean? Too mean? Let me know in the chat. Too mean? Thank you.
Anyway, thank the scientists at the Cleveland Clinic who came up with this, and I wish them all the best luck in their continued research. Please, guys, work hard. I hope they get a Nobel Prize or whatever it is, because this is on my top 10 of list of things that I just want gone.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Good job, guys.
Our current president.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's.
Top 10
things, a political show
top 10 things we want gone. That's a fun list.
Cancer's very high on that list.
Cancer. So. Xander in the chat says, we are wrestling fans. We're used to looking at good-looking dudes in tight pants.
Pretty much, yeah.
Support!
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
And girls. Guys and girls. Mm-hmm. Everyone, tight pants.
There was actually a meme that I found
#tight
not too long ago that said, of course wrestling's fake. They're all fighting for a belt and none of them wear pants.
That's true.
And then I thought about it. I think maybe Braun is the only one that I know of other than Cena that actually wears real pants.
That belt does not hold up anything.
No, it doesn't.
But it's
if anything, it weighs down.
It's a fashion piece, okay?
It is a fashion piece.
It's a cummerbund.
Just like every belt I've ever worn.
That's a cummerbund.
It's cummerbund, yeah.
We'll have to get us a title belt just for the hell of it.
They decided that cummerbund wasn't as sexy of a name.
Is it a cummerbund?
It's really not.
We got the wrestling title, and he's got the cummerbund.
It's called the gold, all right.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
Tight pants for everyone. No, I don't want to wear tight pants.
Yes, tight pants for everyone.
Thank you, Devin.
Everyone like it. We're gonna get Jason in tight pants here.
Cass, hook us up with the next story here.
All right, we have even more good news. Kristen Ritter on her
Instagram.
On her Instagram, she announced Jessica Jones season 3.
Woo!
Jessica Jones is an amazing Netflix show that is very difficult to watch.
Mm-hmm. But it's so good.
It's so good, though. Like, it's so hard to watch, but it's so good.
I love the Netflix series, except for Iron Fist. But,
I mean,
I'm kind of surprised because I thought Daredevil season, well, we still haven't gotten Daredevil season 3. We know it's coming.
Right.
So they keep following the order. That's fine with me. But yes, I love the progression of the other characters this season in Jessica Jones. It wasn't so much about her. Everybody else got their own moment to shine. So I was really happy with season 2. It makes sense. You got to renew this show.
They have to keep going with it. And I think it's really important that they're bringing in the other characters because when Jessica Jones is by herself, it is an intensely negative show. But when you can surround her with people that she grudgingly cares about, then it becomes a lot better.
She does not compromise who she is.
She doesn't.
We accept Jessica for who she is.
We do. We just don't want to watch it all the time without somebody else being like, but maybe hopeful.
Maybe hope.
The worst part of the season was that damn song. I want your crazy. I just was cringing like, God, make this song end.
I'm a little bit sad because from everything that I've heard, it looks like that we're not getting a Defenders season 2 at least for a long time.
Don't say things like that. Don't say stuff like that.
They keep talking about like it's not coming for a while, and one of my favorite things about Netflix in general, I loved the Defenders except for Iron Fist, but I loved the interactions.
He was better depicted in that.
He was closer, yeah. He wasn't as
It was
bad.
better.
But it was just because there was less of him. That was nice.
The other people kind of held him up. It kind of showed he was kind of a little bit exposed.
I loved the interactions, and I love every single crossover that we've ever gotten, whether it's Rosario Dawson or Luke Cage in the first season of Jessica Jones. I love those interactions. So I'm crossing my fingers for more of those interactions in this next season of Jessica Jones, especially Rosario Dawson, because again, she's Bae.
I think it's time to add another show too.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, we got Punisher now, so we got 5 series now.
The end of Punisher was rough.
The end of Punisher,
it was really, really good, and I liked it, but it was gritty, I guess.
Yeah.
It was to watch.
Gritty is a very delicate way of putting it, but yes.
I don't want to do
brutal.
Spoilers.
It's brutal. It's pretty brutal.
Spoilers be damned. I mean, come on, if you didn't watch this show by now.
It's brutal.
I kept telling Cass, because I finished it before she did, I was like, you're going to see this scene, and it's so upsetting. It's so upsetting. And she kept being like, well, I saw this. Was this the part you were talking about? And I was like, no.
How did you refer to it? Braxton Hicks.
It's Braxton Hicks syndrome, where you're just like, I think this is the real thing. I think this is the real thing.
This could be the real thing. You're like, oh, no, it's this. It's this for sure.
And then when it finally happens, it was the dude in the mirror in the glass, and that's all I'll say.
It's a mirror.
And I was like,
why are people in the chat threatening? You want this? Come get it. Come get it. I will. Ooh.
Is that Megabot?
His name for
Botron.
the 100th time is
Botron.
Megatron. Say it with me now. Megatron.
Gotron.
Botron.
It looks like a grown-up Bender. Like, Bender started, and then he like...
So, hey, who's got the next news story? Corey, you got the next news story? Kat, you got the next news, Kat? Who's got the next news story? Okay, go ahead, Kat. Go ahead.
I can do it. This story is not quite as positive. Overwatch League has had its share of drama. In the past week, they had to release Dream Casper from Boston Uprising after allegations that he had conversations of a sexual nature with 2 14-year-olds on an ongoing basis. Dream Casper is 21. He's been released, like all that. But this week, Agilities, who plays for LA Valiant, his real name is Brady Girardi, did an interview where he said that he felt like the LA Valiant was, I'm paraphrasing here, were a little too public with his private life after they showed a segment on the LA Valiant show that's like they're embracing radical transparency, and so they showed a private conversation between the head coach and this player who's 18 years old that was like, you've got to shape up or you're not going to stay on the starting roster. And then they published that conversation to everyone, and he said that he really wishes that they hadn't, but he can't do anything about it because of his contract. And that actually goes into something we're going to be talking about a little bit later, which is why I wanted to bring it up, which is fans and what information and what storylines and what things are we entitled to as fans versus just indulging in maybe unhealthy
There's been just too much stuff
levels
this
of
week
addiction.
with people messing around with minors. What the... Like, we were talking about a story today, and I know this wasn't on the news, but it was a YouTuber by the name of Touch Delight. He put out what he said was a clickbaity video. But basically, he was playing Fortnite, and every time he got a kill, he was going to have who he referred to as his 13-year-old sister who was sitting next to him remove an article of clothing. Now, let me go ahead and say, he said he was trying to make a clickbaity video, but the girl was not 13 and was not his sister. And another guy like Philip DeFranco covered this pretty well. So I'm not going to go too much into it, but who needs to do this to make some guys look at a girl who's half naked? This is how you ruin looking at a girl. Hey, there's going to be a girl half naked over here. Okay, so I just go over there. Is it over there?
Yeah.
As soon as you say something, oh, but she's 13, so I'm going to go back over here now. This is how you ruin that.
Seriously.
Why was that even necessary?
I don't know.
Why do we have to have and it also has a little sprinkle of incest and pedophilia in there.
Seriously. That is creepy on so many different levels.
This was totally unnecessary, and he's come under fire. He has made what I'm going to call is the weakest apology video out there that I've seen. As YouTubers ourselves, as well, there's the weaker ones out there, but as YouTubers ourselves, go fuck yourself. Okay, sorry. This is not the kind of content you give people. And no, it's not a reflection on the whole community, but guys, this is common fucking sense.
Yeah.
Don't do this type of shit, especially if, I'm just trying to get clicks. That's what he said. Look, guys, I'm not a pedophile. I was just doing this just to get clicks. You don't need clicks after. And there's going to be a girl half naked in this video. I've seen thumbnails with that. I just want to put a thumbnail of that in all of our videos, and we might get more views. It's really cringy, and let's be better as a community and not do ridiculous, stupid things like this. And that's my friggin' soapbox rant on that. Just something wrong with people.
You don't have to yell at us. Nobody is on the other side of this issue.
You're going to find absolutely no argument
exactly
from this side
the
of
chat.
the room.
It's like, why even do those things? It's not necessary. It's Overwatch the one with Master Chief. Hey, we're going to fire him.
Ricardo. You know what? It's okay. He's just showing his ignorance. We knew it would happen sooner or later. Hi, Ricardo. We miss you so much, except don't say stupid stuff like that ever again.
Yeah. I can't really be too mad at Ricardo because he did get me my Finn Balor shirts.
You know what he got me? Nothing. Not recently.
I went all the way
He's
to
gotten me
Anyways.
stuff before. Still love my Batman pants. Love you, Ricardo.
So, anyway. So, that is the news for us. Thank you, guys. Make sure you like this video and subscribe also while you're here. I like to tell you now because you might stop watching by the end of the video. So,
we know we're not going to keep
like and
your
subscribe
attention.
if you're watching this. Now, I'm interested in this next segment because y'all got to see a little something this weekend. Something that I want to see.
Yes. Yes, we did.
It was
Are we
so
moving to
good.
that? Is that all the news?
I think we got all the news.
Did we get all the news?
We got all the news. So, you guys got to see A Quiet Place with John Krasinski and, what's her name?
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt.
Directed by John Krasinski.
He directed it too?
He directed it as well, and he helped on the screenplay. I don't think he wrote it, but he helped. I think he doctored it a little bit. This movie was fascinating, I think is the biggest adjective I can get it. It was a fascinating movie. We saw it last night at 10:30 at night because that's when we're awake. And I don't know. What did you think?
It was really, really good. It was one of the better horror movies I've seen in the last... one of the two better horror movies I've seen in maybe the last 2 years. It was really well done. It was a brand new concept. It was something that I haven't seen before, and I really liked that. And it's got the most Oscar bait that I've ever seen in a horror movie, maybe.
Oscars have historically been woefully ignorant about horror movies, and I think that if there was a time to come out of that, it would be for this movie. I thought it was absolutely amazing, and one of the things that really brings me into horror movies, and it's really the difference between me loving a horror movie and me hating a horror movie is the characters. If I don't care about these characters, I'm not going to care whether they live or die. I've seen slasher movies, I've seen Friday the 13th, I've seen the remake, and I did not care if these people lived or died. And A Quiet Place is completely different. All of these characters were so human. They were so interesting. There's a dad, a mom, 2 little boys, and a girl. You see them going about their everyday life.
2 little boys.
Yeah, 2 little boys and a girl.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 1 boy.
No, 2 little boys and a girl. You see them for long enough going about their daily lives in silence, which is fascinating. There's no, hey, can you put dinner on the table? There's no, oh, wait, don't go down there. It can't be verbal. And so all of these, they use sign language a lot. They use body motions They use body language, and all of that is so integral to the plot and so integral to the characters. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating. And sound, of course, plays a giant part, which was one of the best things about it.
Yeah, the sound mixing, sound editing and sound mixing. Yeah. Yes, it gets very loud sometimes after like long prolonged silences, but it's at appropriate times. We actually had kind of a back and forth about if there were a lot of jump scares or not, and some reviews say there were, some reviews say they weren't. You see a lot of them coming. They're pretty telegraphed, but in a really interesting way, because sound is the catalyst for the monsters to come get you. This is going to be major spoiler for you, but if you haven't even seen a preview, then maybe don't watch this review of it, because you get as much information as you would during a preview. But yeah, so like anytime there's a loud sound, everyone freaks out because the sound brings them. Yeah, and they kind of indicate without saying it that the whole reason that this family still exists, maybe, is because they had a deaf child or hearing impaired child. So I think that just, it's kind of indicated they already knew the sign language, and they kind of were more familiar with paying attention to what could and couldn't be heard and that kind of thing. And then they just carried that through. The sound was outstanding. They kept it from dragging too much with the silence, which would be one of the hardest things to get right. And then there's a couple of moments where there are spoken words, and those moments are some of the most meaningful conversations that happen in the movie. Some of them without any spoken words, and some of them with spoken words. And those conversations are equally effective for different ways. Yeah. In different ways.
They're one of my favorite things, and this is a thing that came through in It as well. If you haven't seen it, it's one of my favorite movies that came out last year. Is in a lot of movies that do have jump scares, you have a jump scare and then you get the intensity goes down. That's not the case in this movie. The
so you're just left in a state of unease at all times.
It escalates.
It escalates after
rapidly.
The jump scare.
Okay, that's the kind of stuff that actually, when you're at that constant, just something could happen, but not a jump scare, but you're anticipating something.
The jump scare is usually, a very loud sound. Well, very loud sounds bring the creatures. So when they do a jump scare with this loud sound, you're like, now it could be coming.
Was anybody a jerk and made a noise in the theater for some reason while this thing was going? Because I would probably get up and punch that person.
It was 10:30. There were like 7 people total in the theater.
Okay. I sneezed. I sneezed during the time that was absolute silent, and I tried to muffle it, and instead I just made like a fart noise with my hands, and it was just it's really...
Unlike your usual fart noises. Okay.
We do that with the chairs.
Damn that play.
But there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about. No good horror movie has a bad creature, and these creatures were terrifying. I won't talk about them a lot, obviously, but there's one thing they obviously have. They hear, and so that part of the brain, that part of the creature is very, very important, and that is done fantastically. And they're terrifying, they're really interesting, and one of my other biggest things about horror is that I don't want to see something that couldn't exist. If you've seen The Hobbit, if you've seen The Goblin King, physically that couldn't really exist, just because it wouldn't be feasible with physics. With the physics that we know in our world, at a certain point,
with physics that work roughly the same as they do on Earth,
exactly,
which is the Hobbit universe. It's virtually the same, so that creature's not viable.
If you have something that looks like Thanos with tiny little wings, that's not going to be able to fly. Stuff like that takes me out of a horror movie, and these creatures could definitely exist, and they're absolutely terrifying.
Hashtag Thanos with tiny wings.
Hashtag Thanos with tiny wings. Tiny little fairy wings with
sparkles. We'll need some fan art out there, just somebody to give us Thanos
we need that.
With tiny little wings.
Cora, can you do that? Draw Thanos with tiny little wings in chibi form?
I will do my best. I actually did have a question with A Quiet Place.
Yes.
Because I am, as they say, Well, I can't say that on camera, can
Are you trying to say a giant pansy?
Yes, wuss, pansy. There we go. Pansy is a much better P word than I was going to use.
Yes. Yeah, no, you can't say that.
No, I can't.
Microsoft will come for you.
Pussy willow?
Yes.
Close enough.
Yes. Okay.
But, I get scared very easy in a horror movie. But, like, psychological horrors, I can do a lot more. Would you consider this more of a psychological horror since you have a lot of that kind of stuff going on? I mean, I know there's monsters,
it's
but...
kind of post-apocalyptic horror in a lot of ways. It's a micro view of a family. That's very much what it's focused on. So it's a little bit... It's not really psychological, except for the sound part. I will say, as far as horror movies go, this wasn't the kind of one that sticks with you to make you scared after you see it, I don't think. It didn't me at all. I was like, that was good! And then I went home.
That's all that matters, as long as I won't lay there in bed at night going...
I don't think so.
No.
There's catalysts for it, and basically, like, because of the hearing premise, the only time you even could worry about it is if there were total silence all around you all the time. Yeah. And then you'd start becoming concerned.
It's definitely not one that's going to bother you when you go to sleep at night. It's intense throughout. It does have jump scares. It has plenty of jump scares.
It has kind of a lot of them, but they're not unnecessary in any way. They're integral to the plot.
And one thing that I will say, it stresses you out. This is a movie that will stress you out because every single moment there is danger lurking. And I love that. That is fascinating to me. Every single moment, something could happen and you could die within an instant.
It's coming for you. I would put it at a A- B+.
Really?
Which is really, it's good. Wow. It's really good.
A++ for me. 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it.
You rate a lot.
Okay,
I do rate a lot of things.
They're good
10
things.
out of 10.
I have never seen you rate a bad thing 10 out of 10. But
I think I'm going to have to go see this.
Yeah,
this
go see it.
Okay.
Amazing.
Everyone,
guys,
go
we'll
see it.
A Quiet Place. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
So we do have one quick thing before we go to break. Something that I want to start doing. There are a lot of video games out there we love playing and everything, but there's a lot of good indie titles.
There's one video game
that just never get any type of mention and everything. And I was emailed one this week that looks pretty good. It is called Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. It takes a lot of elements from a lot of different games out there. You'll notice some just by looking at the trailer. It is set to launch on, let's see, it said early Q3. It's only going to be $18.99. It will launch on PS4, PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch, which is what I'm interested in getting it for. We do have a trailer for it. We're going to take a short break, and you guys can look at that. So here's the trailer for Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. All right, guys, so that was Sinner, Sacrifice for Redemption. It is from publisher Another Indie and developed by Dark Star Game Studios. And the release date for the game is April 25th, 2018. I'm interested in this game.
That's pretty.
So
pretty.
I really want to get it on my my Switch because I've been looking for good games to get on there, and I feel like I haven't supported any indie titles on my Switch yet.
Yeah.
So I feel obligation to get this on that platform. But otherwise, possibly, hopefully we can maybe do a little review of it, maybe a little playthrough.
Absolutely, yeah.
So look for that soon. So
do we know how much it's going to be?
It's only $18.99.
Nice.
I mean,
nice.
Indie games are typically cheaper, but, people, that's an indie game. I'm going to play Gears of War or whatever. Yet another Modern Warfare or Call of Duty. Who gives a damn?
Yeah, do we really need another COD?
Yeah, are those different games?
They may as well not be.
I like COD games, but only because if people are playing COD games, they're not infiltrating other games with their toxicity.
Well, I think a lot of people complain about, this is the same.
That's true.
This is the same thing. It's nothing different. Try indie games. There's plenty of different stuff out there. So, at $20 for a game, seriously? I will be willing to get
a game
this.
that pretty.
Oh yeah, and it looks like it does take a little bit from Dark Souls, but I'm actually okay with that.
Dark Souls is breathtaking.
I love it.
If you want to take a little bit from Dark Souls, go for it.
But I don't want to say that and
just not so hard, please.
I don't want to say that before they've gotten their game out and just, you're just ripping off Dark Souls. No, I'm going to give it a shot, and we're going to give it a review around here. So
dude.
Look for that after April 25th. We'll come over here. We'll play it on Switch. We'll do a live play.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
Plans made.
All right. So we do want to give a quick review before we get into our the main topic. But Cora has gotten into wrestling.
Yeah.
And this weekend, she came over to watch WrestleMania with me. Overall rating for WrestleMania, Cora.
All right.
Was this your first major pay-per-view, by the way?
No, I got to see the Royal Rumble last year.
Okay.
That was my first major wrestling thing to watch, and that was pretty good. I will say WrestleMania was higher in the factor than Royal Rumble was, but I felt like I was more satisfied after the Royal Rumble than I was with WrestleMania. There was a lot of really awesome things that happened during it, but there was more things that left me going, why did you do that? Which seems to be a consensus across the board, so I don't feel like I, as a new fan, am just making assumptions because I have favorite wrestlers. But it's a consensus across the board, even for people who don't like these wrestlers going, why did you do that? That didn't make sense. What about you, Jason?
I was on board with the show. Things like Goldust dabbing, leave the crowd happy, and they were doing that. And then after the Asuka Charlotte match, I think was the first just downer of the night because Asuka's streak was ruined,
and it was ruined for a dumb reason. We found out after that they're trying to set up a Ronda Rousey and Charlotte rivalry, which has nothing to do with the Asuka Charlotte match that happened. Especially because Charlotte lost the belt the next night to what is
Carmella.
To Carmella because of the Money in the Bank. She just cashed that in for the belt, which she could have just done at WrestleMania, left Asuka's streak intact, and gotten rid of it at a different time. That made more sense.
She's already becoming a smart mark. It's funny. I think there were some other high points. Like I was enjoying it. The Shinsuke AJ match needed about 10 more minutes. God. In fact, it just needed to end the show because. Once again, let me not get to the end first. There was a bit of you're in the moment for the whole Nicholas from the crowd.
Hold on, let me
winning the title belt with Braun Strowman.
Where did it go? There.
She's looking for but yeah,
that
was a happy kind of like we're having fun moment. And then we had to go into the main event of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And the crowd did not leave happy. Nobody liked that match. They were chanting, "This is awful.
This is boring.
That's your last match of the night. This is the one that's supposed to draw the money." And that's what the crowd was reacting to. So, overall, I liked the show. I enjoy WrestleMania. It's made to be enjoyed with friends. I think we had a good time watching it. But, guys, let the crowd leave happy. That's all I got to say.
I will say the match I think that surprised me the most was the double match with Triple H and his wife and Ronda and what's his name?
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
Ronda Rousey was fantastic.
She was incredible. Like I was kind of iffy just because I know she came from a different style of fighting. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. Let's see what happens. I was blown away by her match because she did amazing. She backed Triple H into a corner. She punched him into a corner basically, and he's there like terrified, and his wife was terrified of her. And she just gave them a look. It didn't have to be anything special. And I'm really excited to see where she goes from here. I think it was a really cool idea to have her debut in WrestleMania. Her first match ever is WrestleMania. She's themed after Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper.
Hot Rod.
Because that was her favorite. I like that. Like, I'm liking where they're going with her, and I hope it stays on a good note. Because then
you sound really confident.
I'm not confident in the writer at all. Because they ended with a match that had everyone chanting for beach balls to sit there and toss at each other because that was more entertaining than the match itself. Oh yeah,
that's rough.
The only entertaining thing that happened in that match was Roman got some color, and that was like,
look at her using wrestling terms. Got some color,
and that was the most interesting part, and it came at the very end, and then he loses anyway, and I also just.
What was that noise again? That's good.
Also, last match that we didn't cover, Undertaker versus John Cena.
Oh my, okay.
Well, it was a quick squash match, but it's
both still wrestling.
I know, isn't Undertaker?
That was like
how old
10
was
years
Undertaker?
ago when I was
That's why they did a really quick match.
Gotcha.
But it had some good moments. The best part was when Undertaker did his classic, I've knocked out, and then I sit up real quick and look at somebody. John Cena does the best back pedal. And it is just great. His feet like skip 2 times and he falls on his ass. Yes. It was so great.
Oh, okay, I forgot about that one.
I'm gonna leave you with the other one that had us just giggling our asses off on the Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax match.
Okay, so they set up that Alexa Bliss was Nia Jax's friend, and then she turned on her like, oh, I can manipulate her because look at her. Because Nia Jax is a very tall and very thick woman. I don't know why Alexa Bliss, who's shorter than me and the size of a toothpick, would think, oh, I'll just say this out loud, but, because she could get snapped in half.
One's 6 foot, one's 5 foot. It was a great display.
Wow.
Sometimes you gotta watch out for those little ones. They're wiry and scrappy.
Nia Jax went over on this one and won the championship belt, but the funniest moment of that match, please, just...
So, Alexa slaps Nia, and of course...
Slap the...
full on, bitch slaps her. I know language. And Nia doesn't even move. Her face moves, and she just turns and, moves some hair out of her face and does a battle cry at her. And immediately Alexa screams in terror and tries to run away.
Same.
Nia's like, ah! And Alexa goes, ah! Her face, it was a perfect timing, ah! Ah! And she tries to run, and she, snatches her by the hair.
And drags her down.
We had to rewind. I was like, rewind it. We have to see that again. It was the best. It was the best part. So overall, good elements. Let's just do a little bit better with the ending. Maybe they should have reshot the third act of this one. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
I hear that's working out well for people.
Oh, no kidding.
Makes no one nervous. And
all right, so we do got to get the topic of the night, and it's. I'm sorry, because we were having fun. We
probably should have done WrestleMania after this.
Yeah, right.
Everybody leaves happy, but everybody will leave happy because
we need
we're
to
here.
Talk about some stuff, though.
So there were a lot of stories over this past weekend about our beloved Generalissimo, Stan Lee, who is 95 years old, and he is still doing the convention circuit. We all know Stan, but there was a lot of speculation that Stan was being manipulated, used, possibly abused.
Not taken care of, not watched out
there was
for, that kind of stuff.
Very disturbing video that came out, a couple people getting the signing done, and Stan seemed out of sorts. He was not moving very quickly, not his usual kind of peppy self, not talking. He had a blanket over him. He looked frail.
Yeah.
and he was signing very slowly, and
nobody
fans
was talking to him. Nobody except to tell him where to sign.
And fans were outraged. A lot of people. I mean, there was a lot of social media posting about Stan and that all this was possibly happening to him. And of course, we as fans, we run to protect those we love because Stanley, helped this kid from the projects know right from wrong a little bit better with some of the characters he created. So we do feel a bit protective of them. Now, we did get a statement from Stan after the weekend had passed. He was on camera. He looked better. And some people actually said when he made his second appearance on Sunday at the show, he seemed to be in better spirits. Now, he's 95 years old. He's going to have good days and he's going to have bad days. He has had heart surgery. He has he's got his bionic heart. He's Iron Man now. But we have to understand he is going to have bad days. He's going to have better days.
Well, and he's very good at conserving his energy. If you've ever seen him live, he has moments where he goes bigger and very engaged, and then he kind of sinks back and just sits for a few minutes. And that could have been what was going on. We don't really know.
And they were taking pictures that same day. He was falling asleep. Guys, old people do this. They do. But Stan did put out a statement. I'm very glad he did too. That basically absolutely. Said, guys, I know you're worried about me, but I'm slowing down. But I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do. A lot of things are getting blown out of proportion. So he came out to set the record straight. And thank you, Stan. I mean, he didn't sound like his normal self, but also, guys, we grew up with him. I remember, this is Stan Lee, just those wonderful intros he would give on shows and everything. And
back when he was only like 84.
But he's hanging. I wish my life was going to be that good at 95 too.
Yeah.
But there are concerns always with people exploiting those that we love, even if it was family or just somebody that we admire and respect.
And it has happened. It has happened over and over. Something that has happened, I would say in the past 5 to 10 years, a lot of being obsessed with things has grown more acceptable. Being a nerd has grown more acceptable, and so the demands on the people that make our content creators, writers, actors, a lot of those demands have been growing over the past 5 to 10 years, and some of them are great with it. John Barrowman, he's always up, he's always there, and that's why we love him so much.
That man is...
I've never seen him have a down day. And then you have Ben Affleck. If you haven't seen the pictures from Fan Expo Dallas, see if you can find a picture of Ben Affleck.
Let me you be a fan. You're taking a picture with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
I'll be Ben Affleck.
Okay.
So,
all right. Hi, Ben. I'm so excited to meet you. We're going to take pictures. It's going to be a big smile. I'm so glad you're the best Batman we've seen recently. Let's take a picture.
Are we done? Okay.
That's
Next.
the Ben Affleck that we got. And the question
with this
is...
smile at best.
Yeah, at least. I mean, I've seen way better pictures. Think about, this person just paid a lot of money.
$250.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's why I don't take fan pictures. I got this stuff to buy here.
Yeah.
Which my procurement's from this weekend. But
such a
that's
more mature.
That's not good.
Does he owe us anything, though? Does Ben Affleck owe us anything?
A picture after $250, yeah. And normally people like to look good on pictures, not...
I will say I do think he owed us. He didn't have to do the pictures. That was his call, or his and his manager's call,
except he gets money for it.
Call. But if you are going to set, I feel like he set the expectation that celebrities showing up willing to take pictures with people does set a reasonable expectation that they're either going to look like they're enjoying it or do a face of some sort or something. It was just bad.
If I had taken a picture with Ben Affleck and he had done that through it, as I was leaving, I'm like, yeah, that's why Charlie Cox is a better Daredevil.
Well, that and the vinyl rubber versus like...
I'm going to go watch Geely and laugh at you.
Oh, I've seen Jaylee. That's rough.
Ben Affleck got into a fight with a fan at Fan Expo Dallas.
Ben Affleck straight up punched a fan in the face.
I mean, if that's your smile, that's your smile. But he's an actor. He can act like he's happy to be there.
I've seen him smile. That's not what it looks like.
That was that face he made when people were criticizing Batman versus Superman, and Calvin was trying to defend it, and you just see him like...
That's the thing.
Hello,
I recognize that smile. It's the smile from Gone Girl.
that smile! You're not wrong.
That's that smile. I've seen that smile.
I love the chat's face. Like, $250. What?
It was expensive.
It was really expensive.
Whereas you saw people like Jeff Goldblum, who I would consider
He's
better,
fun.
oh God, he was so into it.
Yeah.
All of the pictures I saw, the people that got pictures with him, wow.
His picture with
he is
Bryce
everything you want him to
adorable.
be.
His picture with Bryce
like
is
he was like,
adorable.
look, because Bryce was wearing the jacket with all the dinosaurs on it.
Speaking of that, we miss you, Bryce. Bryce wasn't feeling up to the show, so y'all give him some well wishes, and hopefully we'll see him next week. But I'm sure Ben will be nursing that wicked burn all the way back to his mansion. I'm sure, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm
He's
rich.
Like, this is why I don't have friends.
Ooh.
It's Batman. It's a Batman reference.
We're just trying to make him
Batman
dark
reference.
and brooding.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to work too hard.
But
I'm just saying what we needed that day was Bruce Wayne, and who we got was Batman.
Yeah.
Just
at least put on the costume if you're going to make that face.
seriously.
I mean,
like
might
you
as
can
well.
do whatever you want. Under that
Now I'd
costume.
take that picture for $250, right?
I'm gonna take. Yeah.
I still wouldn't, like, unless you let me photograph Ben Affleck, then maybe I'd pay $250. I don't care that much about it.
But there's a question that I think has been out there for a while, and I don't think I've ever heard it answered. What do our content creators owe us? Do they owe us anything?
I'll say, okay, you know how they say never meet your heroes?
Yeah.
Recently at, it was North Texas Comic Book Show. I have loved the work of Larry Hama for many years. I loved the bio cards he wrote for G.I. Joe, his writings for the comic books. And then I finally met Larry Hama, and Larry Hama's an okay guy. He's not exactly, and it was one of those where, okay, he wants his money for his appearance, and never meet your heroes. But I guess you want your idol, somebody that you respect, to at least give you like a, hey, thanks for enjoying my work or something. But I've met other celebrities in the past, and it's like you want them to be this great person, or you've put them on a pedestal that you think they are. Like I met Chris Rock once. Chris Rock is a total asshole. I'll say that right now.
Surprise.
Yeah. I was surprised. Like, he did not want to sign an autograph for me. He said, I'm sorry, I got somewhere to be, and literally walked 5 feet away from me and stood there. While he waited for his car to be brought around. I was just like, So, I think it is an interesting question. We do need, they are people.
Yeah.
They need their privacy as much as we do. And they're probably hounded 24/7 by mega fans larger than us. And I can understand how that might get a little bit annoying. So I do take that into consideration. And with the Stan Lee thing, I don't think it was done out of a bad place. I think it was done out of genuine care. But the thing with Ben Affleck, however, I go, no, you should have at least smiled in these people's picture. So I guess just a basic level of humanity.
It's like a
on both
social
sides.
contract.
On all sides. So.
I think it's a social contract. You don't owe us anything unless you set an expectation, kind of a social expectation, which you did when you sold us pictures, basically. There's an understood expectation there that at that point you owe us a picture, and the implication is that it's going to be a decent picture of you since you're in front of cameras for a living.
I like one from the chat, Xander Price with Nerdy Notions. Nerdy Notions, good people out there. They don't owe us anything unless we pay for it. If you pay for a pick, we should get a good pick. If you don't want to be there, don't effing go.
Yeah.
And I know that was a lot of people were complaining about the price of the pictures for Dallas Fan Expo.
Yeah.
I was like, okay then, don't buy those pictures, which I did not. So but some people, that's the memorabilia that they like. So I'm not going to crap on what they like either.
Yeah.
But I think, when you do pay that much, at least that might seem like pittance to a guy like Ben Affleck. But then you see a guy like Jeff Goldblum who was reacting on all the pictures. Look at some of the other celebrities. Richard Dean Anderson. His pictures, he just looked very happy and looked like he wanted to be there. At least give people that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you owe every person that walks down the street an autograph? No. Do you have to stop every moment and take a picture with a fan? Absolutely not. If you got to go somewhere, you got to go somewhere. While I think at a certain point they get past that a little bit, they're not as appreciative because it just happens so much. So at some point it could be an annoyance. I'm going to just give them the benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah, and it can be difficult. I saw an interview with Christian Borle one time, who is a Broadway actor, who had said that he had difficulty at first remembering to be grateful for his fans. Like, it can be a challenge if you're tired and you just put on a performance, especially like on Broadway, because they'll wait for you and you come out and you can do a little signing thing for fans or not, and it's kind of up to you. But yeah, that it can be hard to remember, like, they're the reason I get to do the thing that I really want to do, and I know I'm tired, but, like, be grateful for the people who are so fanatical about following me or being here for this or whatever. I can see that definitely being a very real challenge, because you don't think of yourself as signing up for the crazy fans everywhere all the time, and sometimes you are.
Corey, anything?
Well, I agree with Kat here. If you, and with Xander, if you have a social obligation like a convention, like you already agreed to go and you're going to do the signings and you're going to take the pictures, you do have an obligation to give us something in terms of, like, you don't have to be the most happy-go-lucky John Barrowman person on the planet.
Because you can't be. Nobody's John Barrowman.
No one. John Barrowman.
But you still have to at least, smile and sign the autograph. Like, try to show that you're in good spirits, even if you are not feeling up to it. And if it is something like you're sick or something, then you may have wanted to cancel the event when you realized that you were extremely sick and could not make it. I know that Michael J. Fox did that for Fan Expo.
And everyone understood.
And everyone
Yes.
understood.
Yeah.
And when it's something like that, where it's like, people were probably still upset that they didn't get to see him. I know that from experience with other cons, if you already bought the picture, they give you the money back, all that stuff. They work with you. So it's not like the fans lose out on anything. You don't lose out on anything either in that regard. But if you are still going to be there, you do still need to
be there.
Like, smile. Don't, and not a, or a,
There it is. There's that Gone Girl smile.
yeah.
And by the way, nobody in this is indicating that Stan Lee didn't do enough. That's not.
Oh,
No.
no.
This was much more conversation about, are we demanding too much as fans, and what did both sides of this social contract look like?
I think with Stan, though people looked at him and said, oh, it looked like he didn't want to be there, let's look at it as more as he was not having the best day.
Yeah.
And he chose to be there. Though it was difficult for him, I have seen him have a true love for the fans. And if I'm not going to let him down, and he did it anyway. I like to look at it more as like that. I don't want to think about Stan being used or abused or anything. I think that it was not his best day, and he still got out there. So let's be grateful the man came out there and signed stuff. And yes, it wasn't the best meet or greet, but he did. So one from Tweotch Gaming on the Twitch channel. Thank you for joining us over there. In a presentation voluntary gig, they owe us. When we pay for appearances, they owe us something. I agree with them on that.
I think that's
Say
right.
Tweotch.
His name is Tweotch Gaming. I like that.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh, there you go. And yes, also from YouTube, Kevin Smith volunteered to let him move in, and that's happening.
Yes, I
saw
saw
that's so
that.
cute.
That was so sweet.
I mean, who in this room would not take Stan Lee in if we had to?
Also, who wouldn't want to live with Kevin Smith?
oh, the
No,
nerd.
he's not so great to live with. We no, I'll tell that story later.
Oh, yeah?
He's messy. Leaves bowls.
Are you
in the
talking
sink
about
all the
Walrus
time.
right now? Are you talking about Walrus? Gross. Gross.
So anyway, guys, we are wrapping up this show, and like we say, let's be better fans. Mm-hmm. Let's be those fans. Hey, you know what? That guy was pretty nice to me.
Yep.
I think We can do that.
Oh, Josh. With Josh we
Peter
met the
Stark
Roadhog
fan.
voice actor.
Oh, God. Let's give him a shout.
Sweetheart.
We did not expect a reaction as big as we got. We went up there Friday night, not in cosplay. Cass showed her belly tattoo for Roadhog, and he got so freaking pumped about our cosplays that we were doing Junkrat and Roadhog the following day. We got up to shenanigans with this man, and all we were expecting is, oh, cool, it's Roadhog. You're doing Roadhog and Junkrat.
He is a wonderful person, and I hope to see him again at a convention. Please go watch the video. Josh goes Roadhog Wild at Fan Expo on our channel. He actually retweeted out, thank him for that, and go watch the video. It's pretty funny. He's just a treat to be around.
He really is. I was so happy.
Also, we got a very fan-gushingly interview from Miss Cora over there. Look at her. Look at the cheeks. Look at the cheeks. She got the interview. Josh, he is the voice of the Space Daddy from Voltron.
Yes, I got
Josh
I got to interviews.
Look at her. She's all flustered now.
She was much more composed during the interview.
Yes, I was very composed during that interview. He's very sweet. He had a lot of fun with the interview. I actually stumped him. I've never gotten to do that to any of our interviews before, so that was like a tick on that board. But he was more than happy to do the interview. He's a lot shorter in person than I would have imagined. Probably because I'm like,
all your heroes are. All of them are.
Probably because it was like, oh, it's Shiro, so he's going to be like super tall, and he's not, but it's all right. It's all good. He's very sweet. Go watch the interview. I'm rambling. I'm going to go back to main camera.
Okay.
Hey.
So, of course, yes. Watch all the videos, and I just released another one. We still have another video, the cosplay red carpet, and you guys covered the contest of the it was a qualifying round for...
something in Canada.
Okay, so we'll have that video up.
Something about Canada.
It'll be up this weekend, I promise you. It just takes a while, and I need the whiskey to edit that video out. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We hope to see you guys next week. Same channel, same time. You can find me Instagram and Twitter at JasonTheX.
You can find me on Instagram at BetterCat. You can find me on Twitter at BetterCatComics. I don't know which graphic you have up, but one of those.
Probably the title book.
Huh?
The third thing.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Kas, that's KAS_Bradley. And you can also find me on Twitter at Super Quick Movie for Super Quick Movie reviews.
Oh, and me too.
You will not be collecting my Megatron. Go to hell.
Megabot.
Cora, where can they find you?
Alright, y'all can find me on... Oh no, what did happen? Okay, there we go. Ooh, I almost lost that graphic. And I'm good. You can find me on Instagram at Corodono. It's spelled out right there. Right there. There it is. Or you can find me on Twitter at HawksPerch, where I've tried not to scream so much about Suikoden, but it's not working.
Fair enough.
And of course, you can follow the show at SCNS on Instagram, at SCNS Live on Twitter, and of course on Facebook page, facebook.com/SCNSLive. And like this video and subscribe. Make sure you check us out for other videos that are coming. We're going to be doing some gameplay stuff. We got a lot of things planned. I think also I know Bryce isn't here, but guys, I had a really good time this weekend at the con.
I did too.
We had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
We did a mini photo shoot, which
did
was
some
fun.
I want to see those pictures.
I know, I'm getting them all.
So look for pictures, and if you want pictures, harass Kat.
Yeah.
And
harassment does help, actually. When they're like, hey,
we need that pictures.
We've got some really funny stuff, so go ahead and get those posted.
Yeah.
I'm doing my part. Help brother out. Anyway, make sure you follow the Facebook page for those. But we are done for the night. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week. And as we always say, keep on nerding.